This video is about dirt bikes in the garage. Now the first thing I do is I turn on a bunch of lights. It helps to have white walls. That way it reflects the light everywhere. Now, another thing you're always going to want to have is coffee. In case you can't notice, I like coffee. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about what I do with my dirt bike before I go riding. Just some basic stuff. There's probably, if you follow any of this advice, you're probably going to die. So first I got to make some space. Yeah, that ought to do. Okay, now what I got to do is use that stand to put the bike up on the stand. Gotta put on some music, gotta put on some gloves. Nice. Now, here's the thing. What I'm gonna check first is how does my steering bearings feel? Now, I think it feels a little bit tight. I just had them replaced, actually. So I'm gonna have to probably ask the person who did it for me to possibly loosen it up just a hair. It should be a little bit easier than this. You can see how much the bike rocks. I'm like not even really, it shouldn't be like that. It should just be like, bink. Maybe not, maybe I'm wrong. Fuck, I don't know. Got new bearings in there though. I don't feel any stops or any detents in here, which means probably bearings, bushings, all are good. And next thing I'm gonna do is bleed the forks. This is the top of the fork here, and there's a screw right here, and I'm gonna do that next. To get the right, some people like to use a particular kind of screwdriver. They'll take one like this, and then they'll sort of like grind the end down, because a lot of times it's hard to find the screwdriver that fits these just perfect, but I just use this one and I'm really careful when I put it back in. And you just want to get it out till it goes psst, and then put it back in. You have to do this on a lift. And yeah. There we go. Some people say you got to take them all the way out, but you really don't have to take them all the way out. It probably depends on the bike. This bike, as soon as you get it almost all the way out, you can hear it all goes whoosh, all the air comes out, and then just barely tighten it up. All right, I got another one over here. So let's get this one done. There we go. Used to have two hands here. Having one hold the fucking camera all the time. So I'm gonna turn the camera off, you get the point. All right, so now that I got my screwdriver out anyways, what you could do is you wanna make sure all your spokes on both your wheels are good, not loose. So some people grab them with their hands, and I just kind of go like this. I don't know if you can see, I don't really care. And I come this side. And then I look at it from the front, and I see if it spins good. Then I come over here to the back tire, and I just basically do the same thing. Except for also you want to make sure that your chain is lined up right. It should be all straight. Some people that put the back tire on, you get the bearings off. You want to check these things right here, make sure they're on the same number. So let's see, this would be, here's 3, it's 2 down from 3. Come on this side here. And this one is also on 2 down from 3, so that's good. I have had brought my thing I mean, I don't like doing tire changes, and I don't like balancing and all that stuff, and I don't like tightening my spokes. I always have somebody else do it, so you just got to check their work. One time I got it back, and it was the one off on one side. You don't want that, wear your chain backwards or whatever. It won't wear your chain backwards, but it will wear its, all right. If one of the spokes is loose, it'll be like punk. You'll know. So those are all pretty good. Let's see, do I need, yeah, that's it. All right, another thing I do is I make sure that the steering bearing is secure by doing this. Let's see if I put that there. Maybe I'll put it up here. And basically just check that there's no play there. So yeah, that's that. Make sure you got some radiator fluid in there. In the radiator, make sure you got fluid in there. And you do. You can see the reflection there. Take a look at your fuel filter. Make sure your fuel filter is good. See, nice and clean fuel filter. Now, you might be saying, I don't have a fuel filter like that. Well, you should get one. Did this bike come with one? I don't know. Not when I bought it. I bought it used. So, fuel filter, clear fuel filter, clear fuel lines. That's really nice when you're like wondering if your bike won't start. If you're like, am I getting fuel? Well, you can tell right there if you got clear lines. If it's a problem with getting fuel from the tank, then you can at least kind of eliminate the petcock. Fucking chain looseness. I mean, most people just put 3 fingers right here and it should be about 3 fingers loose. But the deal is that as the swing arm comes up, there's a point where if you don't have slack in the chain, because as it comes up, it's on a lift right now, so and I don't really feel like rigging up a camera to show you or whatever, but as it comes up, this is going to get tight. And at a point right about in the middle, it's going to become as tight as it's going to get. If you over tighten it right here, when the suspension comes down, the chain's going to be totally tense and you're going to stretch it out. And when you have, I don't know what happens because I don't ever do that. I check my chain all the time. So yeah, no, don't over tighten your chain or you're going to fucking probably break it or maybe stretch it out, in which case you're going to have to buy a new chain and new sprockets. Yeah. Check the shifter. In a wreck, some people on these bikes, they shave down all this right here on the shifter, and some of them even put a protective plate, which I'm gonna do. I just haven't probably. And you could just see there's actually scrapes in here from the last guy I bought it off. I've had it adjusted way in and it was kind of bent. I had to bend it back. So you gotta be careful of your shifter busting through your case. So I always kind of check the clearance there, make sure that's good. I always check the pegs and make sure they're not cracked or anything, that they're all working, because if you have a cracked peg and you hit a bump going around a corner and that fucking peg breaks, you could fucking kill yourself. So make sure your pegs are solid. So I'm gonna check that peg too. Yeah, just kind of check the brakes and everything there. Yeah. So what else? Yeah, I don't know. I'll think of the next thing in a minute. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check the condition of my air filter, which last time I looked at it was pretty fucking dirty, and I probably should have cleaned it, but I wanted to go riding really bad, so I didn't. I went riding one last time. So I'm guessing when I open this up, it's going to be pretty dirty. Now, I just had it in because I just put my bike in for some front end work to the shop. I'm not going to say which shop because that's lame. I'm not trying to promote anybody here on this, but let's find out what the air cleaner looks like. Yeah, that's pretty fucking dirty. I can't see it. You know, it ain't horrible. A lot of people, but I'm gonna clean it. Yeah, and then I don't know if you could see. I don't know. A lot of people don't do this, but I grease the inside of my my airbox. So, because you know what, then you get. It's kind of like another air filter, really, because you get a lot of dust that sits on that back wall there. you know, on that side. Another kind of neat thing is you can see how the airflow works in your bike. You can tell, like, you don't get a whole lot of airflow on the left side over here, so that's good. Right on the top, you can see there we might be getting a little bit of air in through the side cover. Not really a big deal. Anyway, that's that. So what I'm going to do is take out this air filter, and then I got another one. I always have a spare, because what I'll do is I'll take this air filter out and then I'll clean it, and then I let it sit and air dry, and you know, overnight or whatever. And I got another one that's fresh, ready to go, that I cleaned last time. That's pretty much how I do it. So let's go. Do I really want to do that right now? This is I don't know why, but I hate cleaning an air filter, but let's do it. Another thing you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to have some Cliff Bars or something else that you like that's yummy. I like Cliff Bars, you know why? Because last time I checked, they're not owned by anybody, and they just taste the same as they did on the first day, except for the new flavors or whatever. But I mean, it's fucking good shit. So not talking shit on big companies or anything, but I mean, big companies, they got too many other goals, you know? So you want like food that's really fucking cool and good. I mean, I don't think big companies really give a shit, you know? Nutrition's changing all the time. They're always figuring out better ways to make stuff that's better for you. I like Cliff Bars. I always bring a couple on the trail. I used to ride mountain bikes all the time for hours and hours and hours, and there's a lot of different things you can eat. You gotta eat something or you'll run out of energy. So unless you're fucking like crazy like some of my friends who can just do whatever the hell they want and go crazy all day and never run out of energy. But I'm not one of them. Most people aren't. And so I like Cliff Bars. They don't really weigh you down. You don't feel like you're hungry. You don't feel like you're weighted down. They taste pretty good. They're kind of like a cookie. But they got a bunch of other shit in there that's good for you, so it can't be completely a cookie. Well, that's that. And there's a lot of people that they buy really expensive cleaners or whatever. Air cleaners, soap, or I don't fucking know. But what I do is I just get some hot water going and put it in some dish soap. So that's what I'm gonna do here. Get some hot water going. Got me some dish soap. Yeah. Dish soap's pretty strong. You don't need a whole lot. Just need something to cut through that grease. And the thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the air filter and soak it in this soapy water for, I don't know, a little bit while I do some other stuff on the bike. Yeah, and then I'll come back to it. I gotta brown this out. Let's put this out here. Ah, shit. Yeah, let's put this out in the sun here. I usually just bring it out here, right there. That's very good. Let's get back over here. All right. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna put that into the soapy stuff. Okay, got the dirty old air filter sitting in the soapy city water. I'm gonna sit there for a while. And got a little bit of grease, some white grease, and I put that in here. So, you know, white grease. Yeah, there's some spots back there I didn't get, whatever. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, that's basically it. What do I use to oil it up? I'll show you. Let's fucking light back around now. Oh, okay, put that up there. Okay, she's fucking this shit right here. So, spray on air filter oil. And it comes out blue. So as you spray it on, just go I usually get one spray all the way around the outside and then try to cover it all the way on the inside. And then I just work it with my hands and make sure that it's all everywhere. And that's pretty much how I do the air filter. Yeah. So when I wash that one out there, I couldn't show you any of this because I have crap all over my hands. But yeah, just when I'm washing that one out there, I'm also really, really careful and just gently washing it. And then I'll rinse it out with water. so all the soap's out. And then I let it air dry, usually overnight. Sometimes I hang it on a hanger that's hanging off one of my shop lights, so it's kind of warm, but not too warm. And that's how I do that. All right, now, before you have your suspension done by somebody, redone, which I did, had these shocks rebuilt to, and well, you want to make sure that you write down all your settings, because you want to write down settings for the top clickers, the bottom clickers, and on this bike for the back shock, low speed compression, high speed compression, I might get that wrong, and then the other one's down there. So what you got to do is you got to start yourself a little piece of paper where you just write down the settings that you've done over time. So here I changed the back shock nitrogen, front forward oil, seals, bushings, replaced, blah, 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 blah. And I started off with settings, which were stock. And then I decided that they were pretty good, but they felt stiff when I was going up real steep, rocky hill climbs, blah, 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 blah. So anyways, I marked down my new settings. That's basically that. So I'm gonna do that now and check them. They're probably stiff because the guy I bring it to does motocross and I don't. I go on trails and I like it smushy. It helps to have an old dirty jacket with a hood so you can get on the ground and not get all dirty or whatever. The compression on the front forks is down here on the DRZ. So what I'll do is I'll just turn this all the way. I'm trying to get to 13, so first thing I'm gonna do is push it all the way in. And every quarter turn you'll feel a click. There we go. And so it just bottomed out. And so I'm gonna turn it till it goes to the very first click. Let's see if I can hear it. Yeah, right there. So that's what I call a zero, the very first click. So it just there's tight and it goes click. So it's in the first. So basically I need to go 13 now. So I go, oops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Same on the other side. Laters. Now some people will tell you that that very first click you feel is number 1. I don't know, it doesn't really fucking matter. Just get them even. You're not gonna notice the difference between one click. If you do, you probably don't need any advice from me. But that's just how I do it, you know? And then write your settings down and just do it the same way every time. Yeah. Here's the tools I have for my bike. I got a set of T-handles with a hex ends, and I got a set of T-handles with socket ends, some whatever the hell you call those things, and then I got a number 2 and a number 3 Phillips. So yeah, right now I'm gonna do the high-speed compression, and I think that's this big one right here. Let's see, I think it's this one. What do I gotta do? High rear H compression 1 1/4. Okay, so I come over to the high compression, which is the blue thing right here on the canister, and then I just go get a wrench in there. All right, and let's see what's that now. Quarter, half, 3/4, 1, 1 1/4. Yeah, so there we go. That's what it was pretty good before. So, oh shit. It's kind of hard to do this when you're holding the camera at the same time. All right. So let's try this again. Quarter, half, 3/4, 1, 1 1/4. Cool. So that's that. And then I gotta do 10 for the low speed compression. So it doesn't have anything to do with how fast you're going on a dirt bike. It has to do with how abrupt the bump is. So if you have a really sharp bump, that's gonna be the high compression. Slower is the low compression. So I gotta get to that little middle one there. So I'm gonna use a skinny wrench, I think. I'll try a regular one first. No, I think I use this one right here. It's kind of an in the middle. What was that, 10? Okay, so let's do this here. Okay, so we got 0, 1. That's stupid, I should start at 1. Well, anyway, 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What the hell? Dropping my stuff. Oh. Rear rebound. That's down here at the bottom. Let's see here. Yeah, it's right there. Gotta get that one at 10. I can't do this while holding the camera. I'm gonna do the same thing, get that one at 10. If you got a spark arrestor in your bike like I do, and you take out these 3 screws here, and I've done this not too long ago, and then this whole thing will just pull right on out, and you can use a wire brush and scrape out the screen. Make sure that's all clean, get good airflow that way. Yep. The hell do I have to check now? I would check the oil, but gotta warm it up for about 3 minutes. I'm gonna let it sit for 3 minutes, and then you can check it. And if it's low, you don't have to do that all over again. You just add till it gets to, they say till it gets to the full line, but I don't do that. I get it where it's in the middle of the two. Cause yeah, you know, you get the bike hot, and the hotter the oil gets, the higher it goes up. And the service manual says run for 3 minutes, let it sit for 3 minutes, and it kind of says about, whatever. So that's what I do. If it's a normal day, warm, you know, between say 60 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit, then yeah, I just do that 3-4 minutes. Sometimes I take a little drive down to the gas station, fill up my gas, and when I'm done filling up my gas, it's been 3 minutes later or so, and I just check oil and make sure it looks nice and clear, and it shouldn't smell funny. I don't really ever smell it, I shouldn't say that, but it just should look clear, and that's it. All right, well, I want to make sure your chain's nice and oiled, so you know, should be pretty smooth. I could probably, if you get too much chain lube everywhere, then when you go riding, it just collects a whole bunch of dust. So just try to get the lube into the bearings, and I try not to get too much on the outside in here. I don't know, whatever. I don't know how they're supposed to lube a chain. I usually spray it on really carefully. I usually put a rag like this, make sure I don't get, and I just spray, and then I turn it, and then I spray, and I usually take a rag and just kind of, you gotta be careful not to get your fingers in here, or that'll fucking hurt. So yeah, sometimes I just push it with this, and God, I don't know, this is probably boring. Now I pretty much just go through and I tighten up all the, I grab, like, you know, one of my wrenches. I usually get that one, gonna need that one, let's see, that one, and those are pretty good starters. Oh, then the screwdriver. So basically I just take each of these and I go around my bike and look for the things that need those, and just go walk around. And as I'm walking around tightening everything and checking for everything, I'm just inspecting all this stuff too, just looking for anything that might be cracked. I mean, just kind of taking a look at everything, you know. It's another good thing about doing the pre-ride inspection, or whatever the hell you call this. What the hell? No, wrong button. All right, now I gotta take it off the lift, and I'm gonna jump up and down on it, kind of check the controls a little bit, and do the tires for air pressure. Yeah, I'm just sort of checking to see when the suspension bounces, if the front and the back are even. Yeah, they are. And I know if they're even for me when I do that, that's about where I like to have, then my shocks are nice and balanced. Just checking the feel of the front brakes, back brakes. That'll feel pretty good. Let's do the air pressure next. I do 12 in the front, 12 in the back. Let's see where there we go. Take off the old stimmeroonie. Okay. I like this pump because it has a pressure gauge right on it. So everybody likes their tires at their own pressure. They have preferred pressure. I like 12s. And that's according to this pump too. I have no idea what they really are. There we go. So you tighten down your tube cap, and you tighten the nut onto the cap, not to the rim. Otherwise, if your if your wheel turns a little bit, it could puncture it could pull the stem off your tube. Helps to have the shittiest toolbox in the world. This one over here is hella cool. That one over there is a piece of shit. That one, I just had my rear tire changed. That one was tightened all the way down to the rim. That's what I was doing. I was pulling that off the rim. I mean, I got just rim locks on my dirt bike, but really on this dirt bike, I've never spun the tire on the rim because of the rim locks. But anyway, it's supposed to be a good thing to do. Now this fucking thing is ready to ride. So what I got to do? Yeah, I got a clip bar stuck in my throat. That's one thing. Get some water when you have some clip bars, or if you're working in the garage. Oh, some coffee. All right, time to fucking move all the shit back. What I'm doing now is I have got battery tenders up to my bikes. The dirt bike I'm gonna ride in just a little bit, so I'm not gonna do it there, but I have like plug-in connections off the battery, so I can just keep my batteries trickle charging like that. And it helps, I don't know. So that's that. What else am I gonna do? I'll turn off the lights. Whew, that's about it. Oh, fuck, air filter. Ugh. All right, clean the air filter still. I'm done with the air filter, put it in here so that it doesn't get a bunch of shit. Put it in this bag so it doesn't get a bunch of shit on it. And that's pretty much what I do before I go riding. It takes a while, but gets you stretched out too.